Mayor.
Morning, morning. How is everybody?
Glad to see you.
Okay, good deal. You can hear me okay?
I believe we're all set.
Okay, all right. Well, I will thank Mark and all of you for attending today and give me a chance to really talk about some things. And we do have a lot going on, and because life continues to move on in spite of COVID-19. And so I want to kind of give you some of the updates of things that are going on and maybe get you a little bit away from COVID for a second, although we think we have some pretty good, some numbers to share with you today as well, and maybe some things that are going in the right direction. Now, I'm going to be all over the wall in the very beginning here, okay? But I do want you to know a few things that are out there. Just trying to I just got in our tourism travel snapshot. I don't know if you got a chance to see that or not. And Mark, I'll try to send it to you if you don't have it, or you can get it to all of your members. But it talks about that Wilson County ranked 13 out of 95 counties, and our investment from tourism is up about $181 on the million. Which is really good. That generates about 1,371 jobs. And so we were excited about seeing that number go up inside of everything that's been going on. So I'll send that to you, but it's really a good snapshot so you can maybe use that in your business. We do, as I said, have many things that are happening right now. So I'm just going to run through them right quick. Our jail was inspected just recently and passed with flying colors. So that's good for Sheriff Robert Bryan and all of his crew. They have battled their best to keep COVID-19 out of the jail. They did have one little spurt, but I think they've got things under control there as we speak. Had a nice little visit yesterday in talking with Mayor Ketron from Rutherford County, and we were just talking about a project that we're working on that maybe we can bring to you here pretty soon that we think would be interesting and maybe beneficial for Wilson County and Rutherford County as well, for that matter. But a guy called me and he had found an old ledger from the Prosperity that he found through an auction through the Prosperity Cemetery where people had sold their plots a long, long time ago. And so I went by to see Mr. Steve Cates, and he gave that to me. So we're definitely looking forward to get that to Miss Linda at the archives. But I took that spell just to tell you that we have a great archives here. If you have anything that you think is worthy of passing on that needs to be preserved, please let us know that, and we can get that to her, and she can keep that for Wilson County history. I know as time goes on, you know, we run into those things sometimes when people pass away and you have things that maybe need to be preserved. So I don't mention that a lot, but we have, in my mind, the best archives in the state of Tennessee. They always seem to win some awards and get some grants, and so we're excited about that. We did pass a resolution this last week at the last county commission meeting where we're going to take on a couple of properties from Davidson County that kind of makes us a little bit better as far as being able to provide them some services that they were having a hard time getting from Davidson County. So that passed. We also got word that just passed from Davidson County as well. So now that will go to the legislature to have that boundary line moved, and Wilson County will grow a little bit more. In our census, which is dollars for you, dollars in your pocket that we don't have to come ask you for because we're getting it from the state and the federal side of the world. We are second in the state right now in recording. We're at 72.5%. So we're doing really good there, but continue to encourage everybody you know to make sure they have filled out their census. So that is very important to make sure that happens, if you don't mind helping me with that. Two things that happened at our last county commission meeting, and I want you to know probably from our side and our heart where we're at. Two people had come to us. One was the New Lease on Life that we had talked about and had an agreement with a long time ago, for about 4 years ago, that we gave them some money, and they spay and neutered animals of families that could not afford to get that done, which helped control the population of animals in the county and really took pressure off our animal controls like in Mount Juliet, Lebanon, and the county. We did not go back into that agreement with them You saw that probably in the paper, may have read that. It's not that we are against the program, not that we're against animals. It's just that we're still continuing to make sure that we're going to be okay after COVID. And we won't really know that probably until the end of February, maybe middle of March, because property tax is our largest revenue source. And until people pay that property tax, if we collect 95% of that, we think we're going to be in pretty good shape there for the whole year. But we won't know until then. So we're definitely being very cautious with our money. The next thing that you might have heard about through that same meeting was that the Murals Committee had asked for $20,000. And that really came about because the murals, the tourism department turned back $50,000. Well, all departments turn back money, to be truthful with you. We get about $2 million back each year. They go back into the budget to help us balance that budget. We kind of count on it. We choose to do that because we don't want to tell a department, hey, look, you spend every dime you don't spend, we're going to take away from you, because then that encourages, we think, wasteful spending. So we encourage them and really brag on them to put as much money back to us as they can. Tourism, in this case, gave money back simply because Amy left us, our director, and had another opportunity to go take advantage of there. So we wish her well, but she left us, and then also one of her assistants did. So a lot of that 50 was actually payroll that is going to be needed as we go forward, because we have Jason Johnson in place right now. Now, with that, so just know that the Murals Committee said, they said, hey, could we take 20,000 and do some murals? Murals have been a big hit here in Wilson County, all across. As you know, they were gracious to be able to get that one done at Charlie Daniels Park, or Charlie Daniels before he passed away, and such a timely thing there. And it's been really a blessing to have that there. But we felt like that the murals probably still needed to be done by private donations, simply because, let's just say, like the last one they did was Sparkle Laundry. If we did it with government dollars, then you could see the people maybe at Cleanway Cleaners calling and saying, oh, hey, I want one done at my place. So y'all did one for them, you do one for us, and then that just kind of goes on. And they're saying, I'm really digging into taxpayer dollars to do this. And that probably shouldn't happen. And I think the Murals Committee probably likes that as well. They like doing their own thing. They find their own artist and they go through that process, and they their own donors. And so we're really excited about what they're doing. But that's another reason probably we didn't do that one, as well as trying to make sure we're preserving our funding. I will let you know that as we continue to try to keep us whole economically, we have reached out. The state has come out with 3 different reimbursement programs right now, one in tourism, one in agribusiness, and one in small business. I've tried to get that out to Mark and Melanie and those folks to get it out to you guys, but one of them is really on the retail business. They kind of expanded that to say, okay, we're also going to try to help these people that maybe suffered during COVID-19 to recover. And it's really as simple as turning in your EIN number, I believe, to the income tax folks, and they will look and see what your deficit is, and then they will make you whole there if you're in one of those businesses. But I really only bring that up to say, if you have a question about that, see Mark or Melanie, and they can help you with that. Second thing is that, the place that really took a hit for us was probably our Ag Center and our Expo Center, because we couldn't have meetings. Well, we are working to try to find a way to recover those dollars as well. Everything that was related to agriculture out there, we have found a revenue source for that, and so that will make us whole there, which is good for you as a taxpayer. We're also looking now to find out for those other events that happen out there, can we recover those? We think we can, but I've got Gail and Quentin and them working on that, so that is a positive thing, we believe, on the economic side again. Governor Volunteer Stars Awards, that's an event that Sarah Davenport works and has been working for the last several years in our office. If you know somebody that's really going above and beyond and doing some great volunteer work in the county, please take the time to do something good for them and call our office, and Sarah can put you through to a portal where you can fill out something really simple, and that will be something that you do that will be really great for them and continue to encourage volunteerism here in the county. Mark and Melanie both have allowed us to make those presentations in front of the chamber banquets, and we like that because that's a pretty big audience for us to have there. They are going to extend the electronic meeting arrangements. The governor is at least through the end of September now. So the people that want to view or want to work the commission meeting online will be able to do so. Recover Wilson, of course, has branched out and continued to do a good job with what they're doing. They have, of course, two people at the helm now with Amy Fair, and Mike Moscadelli. And so that program that got established through the tornado is really continuing to prosper. Jim Kittle, as you know, in our office has $40,000 for any person that's been affected by the tornado that qualifies. How do they qualify? Under $52,000 single income that maybe FEMA did not take care of or their insurance company. So that's you don't have to pay that back. So if you know of anybody like that needs that, we still have that going on, as well as Recover Wilson. And Recover Wilson has agreed to stay on for the long term of any other disaster that we have that happens to us, so we can reach out to them and they will help us. Our numbers for COVID is down. We're excited about that. I can't tell you that the mask mandate made the difference or not. I have no clue, and only history will really tell us here. But I will say that we're excited. You know, I'm on pins and needles every day at 2 o'clock when the numbers come out. But yesterday was 8. The day before was 5. So those are great numbers for us to have. Before that was 32, 23, 23, 18. So we're in those numbers, which are good compared to what it was in the 50s and 60s and 70s. So we are hoping for that this kind of goes away, and excited about those numbers there. I will tell you that, you know, sometimes things just happen. At our last commission meeting, nobody jumped up and got up and down, you know, in the air. But I try to point back out to our county commission. It was really a good meeting in the fact that, you know, when we passed our budget, we did a status quo budget. We did it on time for the first time in the history of our county by June 30th, which was remarkable under the circumstances we were in. But the comptroller asked us to do that. But we also, the only thing that we really had was a deficit, was that we were going to pick up 1 year of the school's bond service payment that they were obligated to. They thought they weren't going to be able to make that, so we agreed to make that 1 year for them. Well, as they closed their books, they realized that they were to the good, and they were better than they thought they were. So they give us back the $1.9 million that we were going to pay for them. So that was a big deal for us to end up having that. If you remember, we ended up 1.4 to the good, so now we got the 1.9 back. That's a positive thing. We also saved $700,000 that we're able to replace back into our budget that we didn't have to have for the recovery tornado part, and $50,000 on the medical side from COVID that we won. So we think that those were two good numbers there that happened to us. You know that we have Farm Bureau now as our naming rights for the expo. That's a great partnership. That's $45,000 a year that they add to our economic side. That's a positive thing there. And you know that we are in the running right now, probably in the short numbers, to have the state fair here in Wilson County. It will happen at the same time the Wilson County Fair happens, if it happens, and the state will invest several $1 million into the Ag Center if we work this deal out. But so that's a positive thing, again, for Wilson County, and again for our fair, if they can make those things happen. That would be no tax dollars out of your pocket, but it definitely would bring in some dollars, I believe, because now, you know, where the fair, sometimes people say, well, you know, they don't eat at my restaurant because they're going to eat at the fair. I think that's probably true on some sides, but what this will do, this brings exhibitors from all over the state to compete. So they're going to stay in our hotels. They're going to eat some of our fish because they're going to be here full time. It's not like they're going to come for the night and go home. So that is going to be an economic boost for us in Wilson County, as I see it. You know, we have the race car coming back in NASCAR June of 2021, another positive thing. And Panettone continues to land buildings out there. We had a very good ribbon cutting with Amazon out on Golden Bear Parkway, but Amazon also took advantage of a building out at the Speedway. So we were excited about that opening as well. They've got 4 real good buildings out there as we speak. I'm going to stop for just a second. Any questions so far off of the stuff that I've given you? And I know I gave you a lot there at one time, but anything that you have that you would like to talk about before I move forward?
I have a quick question, Mayor, on the census. And this
Yes.
is, I don't want to show my ignorance about this, but we're second in the state and we've accounted for 72.5%. My question is, if we already know what the 100% is, what's the point of the census? We know those other 27.5 people are out there. They were probably counted the last time. What do we have to do to get to, in a sense, 100%? If you already know that there.
Okay, I think the 100% mark would simply be an estimated guess of who they think they have here now, because
Okay.
we have those benchmarks that go along that we say, the last time we took a census, it was this, but we should be, by 2020 at 145,000. We think that's where we are, but we don't know, and because we had always said back when the city of Mount Jude and the city of Lebanon would go and have a new census done, we wanted to add that to the county census. And they said, well, gosh, we can't afford to do that because they could have just moved from the county into the city, but not new people into the full county. So they never would give us credit for that. So I think they go off of that base census that these cities have done. And then they probably estimate some growth. So I think that's where they think that 72% is. I'll double check that and know for the next time that we meet to make sure I'm right on that. But I believe that's correct.
I was just curious. It seems odd that where that number, but that explains it if it's kind of an estimate, a calculated.
And we hope it, yeah, and we hope it goes over 100% in our mind, that we.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Other questions?
Following up on that, what can we do as citizens to encourage further participation? Aside from just talking to our friends and neighbors, how do we get the message out there that, get the census done so we can get the tax funds we need?
Yeah, I think that the one thing you could do if you'd like to be a part of that is call Susan Shaw in our office, because we have a committee that's set up to target that, and they're doing several things. They're doing things on billboards. They're doing door-to-door visits now. There are a lot of things that are active out there trying to happen, but they could give you better guidance on what you can do as an individual to help. So if you'll call Susan Shaw in our office at 615-444-1383, she can guide you in that direction and give you more details there. But thank you for offering for that.
Mayor, a minute ago you mentioned that the expo or the Ag Center was getting some money, perhaps back from meetings. Do those meetings include events such as losing the Tennessee Farm Wine Growers Association Wine Festival in April?
What that would be is anything right now, they set aside $50 million to recover anything that they can show them that was ag related. So they have made that turn in on the ag related. Now we're trying to see for the 83 million that was set aside for all the small businesses, we're trying to see, do we qualify under that one? Or is they also set aside some money for state and local governments? Do we qualify under that one? So that's the avenues that we're working in that would give us to say, okay, look, we didn't have the wine festival this year. We normally make $5,000-10,000 off of that on our rental fees. Do we, can we collect those? Now, if you are a person out there in a business and you've lost money from your business, my understanding of 83 million allows you to talk to the Internal Revenue Service. You give them your EIN number. They look at your last year tax returns versus this year tax returns, and they just simply write you a check for the difference. That seems very simple, but that is what I understand it to be. Any questions that you've got over that, though, we're trying to dig into that because we don't want to be ignorant and lose any money for our businesses and our citizens. So that's why we're really hard on trying to be sure we're on top of this. So if you got questions on that, you call me. We'll get you in touch with the right people. We want you to get whatever our people deserve to get here in Wilson County, and we don't want to be asleep at the wheel and miss that. Yes.
If you don't mind to follow up on that really quick, I'm a certified public accountant. I don't do tax work professionally, but of course, I know lots of other CPAs. So if you want us to just In fact, I know another one in my neighborhood. The two of us could just look at this stuff and maybe give y'all a couple answers in a day or two. Because that's, we're CPAs, we're qualified to do that. If you want, just offering.
Thank you, Mr. Cody. Other comments?
Morning, Mayor,
Yes,
Mayor Hutto. This is Lisa Tucker.
yes, ma'am.
I have a question about, you mentioned about the Davidson County, Wilson County. So,
Yes, ma'am.
I live in Davidson County, but all my neighbors around me, I literally touch Wilson County. What area of this area are you talking about that you're looking to purchase? I hope it's my area.
Okay. Well, if it was your area, Miss Lisa, you'd already know it. It's
I
re-
figured that.
yes, ma'am, because they kind of petitioned to have this done from where they were. And I can tell you that this one is on General Kershaw Drive at the corner of it in Bedford Forest Circle or Bedford Forest Court.
Yeah.
Done this a couple of other times since I've been here to where they petitioned to us. And it really happens because, if Davidson County cannot get to you with emergency services without having to go into Wilson County, then they will consider making that call. Because, they're giving up dollars. We're ending up getting the tax dollars. Definitely, we've got to provide the service. So we check with our EMA, our police, and our education folks and say, hey, can you service these people or not? If we can, then we'll take them on. And it's a long process to go through. It's not easy, but if you feel like you're in that particular area and you can, reach out to your county commissioner, take them out there, show them where you're at, tell them what you'd like to do, and then just give me a call, Lisa, and I'll come see you as well. I don't mind doing that, and we'll just kind of see where you're at, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other comments, questions? Okay, I'm going to move forward with a few more informational items and then just open it up after that for anything anybody just wants to talk about. Sales tax, as you well know, we kind of give you an update so far. A couple of months we were down about 150,000 on the government side, which government means Wilson County and the 3 cities, 150,000 short. Education was 150,000 short. Now that's going to me as well because we have to fund that. But after that, we have really seen an uptick. We don't know exactly what the uptick is, simply because we just we had that increase of a half cent, thanks to many of you that helped us to do that, to get our teachers equitable pay, where we can obtain and retain the best teachers. So I keep up with it, of course, as you would imagine, every month. And just to give you kind of a comparison for July of 2019, we had $5,005,472. This July of 2020, we had $6,587,395, up about $1.5 million really on that. So some of that is the 0.5%, and some of that could possibly be growth. So we'll just kind of continue to monitor that, but we are happy that it's up. And I know I've talked a lot about budget today, but I do that because I want you to feel good. I know you see a lot of things in the news about people struggling and about counties struggling and, the fear of having to raise taxes somewhere down the line and all of that. I do feel good about where we are. I'm hoping I'm able to say the same thing in March and we breeze through this. I hope our numbers, as I mentioned earlier in the COVID part, is on its way down and we are back out and going. School starting back up is definitely was a question to me on okay, is that going to hurt my numbers or not and make us go back up? But, knock on wood, we're continuing to move on. And test results are really rolling back right now in about 3 days, as were a while ago. They were like 11 and 12 days. I know I got tested and mine was 11 days getting back. So, it was really a lot of a lag time there. Again, just on the building side in county government, Robert Bain in our office has really done some good things for the courthouse. I know this doesn't really affect you in general, but I want you to know that we're making progress here. We didn't have a sound system in here to where we could dismiss people for fire or a lockdown or severe tornado weather threat. We've got those in here now. We've got a new phone system coming in that would allow us to communicate to everybody at one time as well. And we have panic buttons now set back up in every office since we have a security officer here. With the climate in our country today, I felt like this was something that we needed to improve here and the surrounding buildings. And so I'm thankful for Robert for doing that. You know, we purchased the Fred's building behind us. We're looking mid-February to March to moving the election commission in there. We will move the tourism department down off the square where the old election commission used to be. And we're working with the sheriff's department on a facility that we think is going to help them and help us to fight the opioid crisis in the building where the tourism department is now. And we'll talk to you a little bit later on about that. We think that's going to be a good bridge for us between the people that we pick up sometime that maybe don't need to be in the jail, but do need help. And so we're hopefully looking forward to maybe making a good situation happen there. We're probably mid-October, we feel like, in getting out of that small little building behind City Hall in Mount Jewett and moving over to the Green Hill building for the Mount Jewett clerk's office expansion. So we're excited about that, so you don't have to crowd into that building. And we're looking to take that building and turn it into another service that the county provides in Mount Jewett, so you don't have to drive to Lebanon for that service. And I'll hopefully tell you a little bit more about that as we get a little closer to time on that. But again, that is a positive thing. I don't know if you know this or not, but we had probably the largest cattle show that we've ever had at the Wilson County Fairgrounds this last week, or the James E. Ward Ag Center, which was the state fair cattle show that happened. We didn't have the regular fair, but it happened during that time. But very positive numbers there. Again, tourism was brought in, but a lot, 4,300 head of cattle came through there. Why is that important? That's really important for our folks that are there, that are youngsters and stuff that actually started working those cattle to where they could go to that show, and they didn't get a chance to go to it. If we didn't have the show, they would have spent all that time and nowhere really to go to it. So that was a good event. They were safe. They wore masks. They did whatever they needed to keep things safe out there. So thanks to all of them for making that happen. I do think that I'm pretty much done with everything. Let me just check one more thing here. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and we will be working with a special presentation during our September County Commission meeting for that. We also are looking for, there's $61 million put out in emergency broadband grants that we're going to try to take advantage of for the rural areas of Wilson County to see if we can get any of those hotspots and things put out to help our people there. And again, a nicety that you don't realize, but you really enjoy, and that is we've won the litter grant again from the Sheriff's Department for $76,000 from the state to have our inmates out there picking up trash every day and making your roadways look better. Again, if you ever run across a road that needs some attention, call the Sheriff's Department and they will gladly get on that for you. Mark, outside of that, pretty fast for a while, so let me stop and let's talk about what y'all want to talk about today.
Mayor, I had 3 notes from previous meetings that kind of, with you, it can be sort of a monthly update. Highway 109, and which, by the way, is getting better by the day, I think. But 2 programs that are coming out of your office that I think will have a real positive impact on Wilson County. Monday at Rotary, Susan Shaw and Maggie Lee came and gave us a little bit of an update and some exciting news on what the future of your senior ride program might look like. And I know there's a call late this afternoon with Drug-Free Wilco. And there are, I think, 135 people on that call this afternoon. I'm excited to hear about the progress they're making as well.
Well, thank you for plugging for those. And senior rides is definitely something that we were working on strong until we got hit with the virus. We hope that becomes to a fruition. We believe that's important for our seniors out here, especially those in Mount Jewett, because that's where I had my biggest call of people, because there's not a taxi service down there, and my seniors want to find a way to get around. And I'll tell you this too, I have a lot of volunteers in Mountain View that are looking for things to do. So this we felt like was a win-win. It goes along with another program, Mark, that we started is Wilson Volunteers that Lorraine is working on for us right now. We think that's going to be a good thing to get things accomplished in Wilson County for many years to come. So we're hoping that that one continues to flourish. The opioid crisis is, we talk about COVID-19, and opioids are really probably the biggest killer we have right now that's affecting our county. Many youth have passed away, and that's really what started this initiative. They are making some great strides. What I talked to you about going in the tourism building is another offset of that particular program, but they're making some great strides at making things happen there, things that maybe you may not hear about because you're not in that world, but if it ever affects your family, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. And so that is a good program. You and Melanie, Mark, as well, are working on the Wilson Works project to get a liaison here to work between our businesses and our education system on the workforce part. That's coming closer to fruition as well. So thank you for that as well. A lot of good programs by people that are things that are getting done that don't require taxpayer dollars, but are great service and benefits to the citizens of this county.
Update on Highway 109, still
109. Yes, sir. It is definitely, I hate to even say it because I don't want to jinx myself, but, we really, since the construction started, we haven't had the bad wrecks that we were having. Remember, we had people dying there left and right. I mean, it was every day that I opened the paper up or so, I would hear one, and it just hurt my heart. And so very thankful that project is on its way. It's moving along at a pretty good clip right now. But with all the barrels and stuff, it makes people slow down, and therefore that helps keep it safer in my mind. I'll be glad when it's done. We travel out that way sometime when we're going to different events, and so I look forward to being done. But it's definitely a progress that's moving on, as well as I-40 coming back this way is making a lot of progress as well. I just got the working on the historical site of the Central Pike. The Central Pike interchange. Okay, all of those roads around that are being upgraded before they can do the interchange. And so TDOT sent me the other day the historical part. They want to make sure that we don't mess up any historical sites along that route. So I have a couple of people working on that for me right now, making sure that they're in good shape there as they continue to think about widening Central Pike and those lanes to their Adams lane and the whole connection right there. So that's a positive for us as well.
good news. All good news.
Yes, sir.
Sure, somebody has some questions. Marla's probably helping watch the chat room. But, come on, you guys, you get him once a month. Make him earn his keep. He's had a pretty soft and easy 6 months.
And I've got a few questions if you don't mind me taking a turn.
I missed that. Say it one more time.
I guess I either have to speak up or get closer to my mic. I said I have a few questions if you don't mind it being my turn.
Yes, sir. Make them easy.
One, since we're on roads, what's going on with Old Lebanon Dirt Road here? I hear that there may be a plan to expand from the Kelsey Glen subdivision to North Mount Juliet Road. Personally, I've wrecked a car on that road, so it's a personal issue to me. But that road is very small, very windy, and with the amount of new neighborhoods we're getting in this area, Old Lebanon Dirt Road, I think, needs to be improved all the way from the Davidson County line. I mean, I'd like to see us work with Davidson County and expand it all the way until it dead ends in Hermitage. But at least from there out to North Mount Juliet Road, not only for walkability, safety, bikeability. You can't ride a bike down that road. That would be suicide. If you've been down that road, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, you haven't. So that's question number one. I realize you might not have all the answers. I've been talking to my city commissioners about this issue as well.
Okay, and what I will do is I know that we have several road projects in the works, and I'll go back and give you just a small example of how this works. Central Pike, we've been the interchange there, we've been working on that now for about 3 years or so, as well as the widening of the bridge there at Mount Juliet, the Mount Juliet Bridge there at I-40 intersection. It takes a while to get those things done. None of that happens very fast. So what you're talking about and other roads that we have in the county, we have them in the hopper to get them to be done. Now, where we get caught from time to time is simply they will come back and say, okay, I can only spend so much money in Wilson County. You tell me where you want it going. I can't do all of them at one time. And then again, they'll say exactly what you said a while ago, unless you got traffic and blood, Mayor, these other ones that do are going to get in front of you. And we definitely have that hit us as well. I think the key is to make sure that at the MPO, we have this one on their radar and it's going through the process. So they'll start through the preliminary process and it work its way up. City of Mount Juliet's been very good a lot of times saying, well, hey, we'll do preliminary engineering to move it on up the list. So when you have those things done, that's pretty good. That helps move them along, but it's still a slow process. But I will definitely I'll get an answer. What I'll try to do, and I did this before, I'll try to get an indication to Mark. Mark, I'll send you an updated list on our road work, and you send it out to your chamber folks, if you don't mind for me. And we'll look to see where that's at. And then, Mr. Cody, next month when we come back, I'll try to have some detailed answers on maybe the timeline on that so you'll know where it's at.
Yeah, shortly after I moved into this neighborhood, I think it was the city floated out 3 different plans, and they ranged from most ambitious to least ambitious, but there were 3 different proposals of how we may expand that section of the road. I don't know when those proposals just kind of fizzled out, or like you said, because, other priorities, and I agree, like Beckwith got improved, or the bridge over 40. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you. That needs to be fixed before we worry about my little old Lebanon dirt road. I agree on that point.
Well, and
let me move on from that then. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
and let me say this, and sorry to speak over you. I don't take your road as a little dirt road or anything that's less than anything else. I think it's right in there in the top with other things that need to be fixed, because we've heard that one on that one. But it's just like I hear from the section of Highway 70 going into 109 there from Tri-Green on in. That's been pushed. We pushed that on the docket for quite some time as well. So it's very important to us. It's not, when I say blood and traffic, that's TDOT talking to me about across the state of Tennessee, not just Wilson County. That's where that statement comes from. So,
well, and the TDOT statistics are encouraging. Every year the number of fatalities seem to go down. So it looks like the state's doing a pretty good job of making the roads a little safer. Another question or point I wanted to make. So something since you mentioned September is Suicide Awareness Month or Suicide Prevention Month. Mental health is something I take passionately. I worked in community mental health for a while. I have a finance background, so I wasn't like a counselor or anything, but I worked for the nonprofit that ran the Davidson County Crisis Center there in Metro Center. Do we have those types of services in Wilson County? And if we don't, do we have any game plan in the future to have somewhere somebody can go if they're suicidal or something, and they get checked out, evaluated for 24 hours. Maybe they have to be held for 2 to 3 days, whatever. But take an example of, say somebody's suicidal, do the Mount Juliet Police Department show up? They're not equipped to deal with mental health issues, so they take them to the crisis center. That's what Davidson County does. Now I realize we're talking funding, we're talking a whole lot of other issues to even think about that. I'm just wondering, is that something even on the table, or something that we have in place at all right now?
okay. So I think you have a great question on who deals with mental health, because we've had that conversation among ourselves here about that. When I talked to you earlier about the Fred's building being fixed for the election commission and the tourism department moving down off the square in the old election commission building then, and the tourism department where it's at today being turned into a facility that will help the sheriff's department, that's exactly what we're talking about. Because what was happening earlier is that if they go pick up somebody, okay, that maybe is suicidal or maybe is strung out on something, there really is nowhere for them to go. And so therefore they would end up being incarcerated. Now, incarcerated means they'll be put in jail. For them, they have a hard time. They can't lock anybody up unless there's a criminal offense to lock them up. But a lot of times they'll have to have somewhere just to hold them. And they don't want to do that, or as you said before, are not qualified. So therefore, that's where we're working with the opioid crisis group, or Drug Free Wilco, as Mark talked about earlier, put out a bid to a company that will help us here. Somebody's won that bid. We would like to be a partner with them and use our facility to maybe help them with that transitional area right there. The second thing we've talked about is with Jay Hinesley a little bit about, does the old McFarland campus allow us to be maybe in there and to have some type of situation that would bridge this gap. But that is a weak gap, Mr. Cody, no question about that. What I'd love for you to do, if you have time, if you would call Susan Shaw in our office, she can give you the details of what happens here when there's a mental health issue, suicide prevention. See, we've really spent some time on that, trying to figure out, okay, it's a gap. How do we fill it? And is it our responsibility? So when I say our responsibility, that means that comes out of your tax dollars, okay? Or do you say, no, that's really the federal government or the state government's responsibility. It comes out of them. Or no, it's a private organization and the hospitals really should be providing that service maybe. So there are a lot of conversation there, but Drug Free Wilco is definitely trying to address that and let that be a part of their initiative. So if you will, call Susan and let her give you some details, please. Or if you give me the number, I'll have her call you.
I agree that it's both mental health and drug abuse could be served by that type of facility. And beyond that, just in my experience when I was at Mental Health Cooperative, we were able to get, I believe, some funds from the state through basically an arrest. I forget what they call it, but it's basically a diversion program. So instead of arresting somebody, they go and get treatment, right? And so I think we were able to get some state funds. Well, not us, but this Davidson County got some state funds, which enabled, when I worked there, us to help build that center. But that's neither here nor there. My last question is just any update on the status of repairing our schools damaged in the tornado?
Yes, sir. The insurance company has that. Of course, it was fully funded, so it's no dollars out of your pocket. They have to go through their process of working through that and cleaning the debris. I get calls daily. How come you guys hadn't moved on this? Well, as many of you may know, when it goes into the insurance company's hands, then they're the ones in charge of getting it cleaned out, built back, and restored, not us on that side. So we, of course, our school system, hats off to them for making the arrangements to take care of the children for this year, but we hope to be up and going next year on time. That's what they've told us. So it's been slow. We're looking forward to that happening, but that's who's in charge right now.
Fantastic. Anybody?
Great questions.
Thank you for Mr. Cody. The perfect segue into Suicide Prevention Month and everything. So great information as always. Marla, any questions?
There's nothing in the chat right now, no.
All right. Anybody have any other questions while we have?
Yeah, this is Daniel McMullen. I got a question for the mayor. During this pandemic, I understood that we lost, or somebody stopped doing the health inspector. There was short one health inspector for the county. Have you talked to Governor Lee and asked him to open up the freeze so we could hire a second one during this pandemic and maybe have two people out there trying to look at the restaurants and the hotels and make sure they're all clean and doing what they're supposed to do?
I definitely can. I'll have to, Mr. Daniel, if you'll give me your phone number, I will call you back. I'm assuming you're talking about the health inspector that works for the state of Tennessee through our health department here in Wilson County?
Correct. Yeah, the one that does inspections for the restaurants and hotels. I found out
Okay.
there was one person quit, and I found through them that they couldn't hire anybody because the governor Lee put a freeze on it.
Okay.
It seems
Let me-
kind of
let me-
dangerous at this time, but
Okay, that doesn't come, of course, through us. That's strictly through the state, and they're just in our county here. We provide them an office to work out of. So I'm not familiar with that exactly, but if you'll give me your number, I will get with Tim Defeter and find out, and then make a call to Governor Lee to ask for that, if we could have it, because definitely during this time, it would be good for the restaurants to be able to have, maybe not necessarily the inspection as much as maybe some help that I'm sure all of them need at this time going through this crisis that we are. Can I have your number?
yeah, it's 615-804-5692.
Okay. I will get an answer to that and get it to you. And Mr. Cody, can you give me yours so I'll just get Susan to call you. That'll be easier if it's okay to give you some information that you've asked for today.
Yeah, that's no problem. I think I may have talked to her the other day about volunteering
Okay.
for some things, but my number is 615
Okay.
927
Okay.
9496. And that's
Okay.
my cell number. So
Okay. I'll give her to give you a call if that's okay, just to see if there's any follow-up conversations y'all need.
I appreciate your time, Mayor. Thank you for your
Yeah.
answers.
No problem. Any other questions for me?
How was the wedding?
You know, I got to watch it last night on video, Mark, and it really turned out well. It took 3 times to make it happen, but it was a great day. The weather could have gone either way, as you well know, being outside. But the venue was great there at the place, and the weather was good. It was a good day. They seem to be happy right now, adjusting to living together instead of living at their old homes. That's probably the biggest hassle I think they got right now. But other than that, it was a good time. Thanks for asking.
All right, well, if there aren't any other questions, I got something kind of exciting if you're into this kind of stuff, and since you're on here, you probably are, but we're gonna do, I got the list of candidates in contested races for city commission, mayor, and things like that from the election commission yesterday, and sometime after lunch tomorrow, which is the final noon tomorrow, is when candidates who have picked up an application and filed can say, oops, I changed my mind, I don't want to run. So we have a clear picture tomorrow afternoon, literally after 12 noon. We're putting together our Coffee with the Candidates series again, and we'll be hosting those probably in 30-minute segments. We've realized through this that the benefit or the success of these programs is not necessarily the people that are on here today, but because Marla records them, puts them on our website, people can go back and look at them, and therein lies a lot of the value, and then they can share it. So we're excited to be doing that. I believe there will be at least 11 candidates, and we'll let you know about that. But that should start perhaps as early as Tuesday, September the 8th, but we're still working out the details on that. So always a lot going on. We're here to serve you. If there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Everybody knows how blessed we are to have such access to Mayor Hutto. Some people are sending in some thank yous right now. So if there's nothing else, everybody go out and lighten somebody's load today and make it a good day, okay?
I got one more thing, Mark.
Close us out.
I'm really hurt that Rob Porter didn't pay better attention today than what he normally does. And so just want to put that down for the record and get that in the minutes if we can.
You know, at least he stayed awake during your meeting. So
Okay, there we go. All right, well, I'll take it as a plus then, my bad.
I have a feeling he's working on some school projects or something right now because
I don't want to be the blame for not having those schools open, Mayor.
I got you. Okay. All right.
I can attest to his
Don't
truck
get in
in the
trouble.
parking lot on Saturdays and Sundays. He's a busy man,
Okay. Well,
Thanks again,
thank all of y'all for being here.
All right, y'all have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
See you next month.